What's up, guys? Coming at you from Shenzhen as usual. I'm going to do a drive around today. You can see the streets, see if you think there's more people out on the streets, and just kind of get a feel for what's going on here in China, at least in Shenzhen. And despite what a lot of people have been saying and asking me, we're not on lockdown in Shenzhen. There are a couple of buildings who had confirmed cases who are, but generally speaking, we can come and go as we want. We do have to register on an app when we come and go, and just has like a questionnaire and stuff like that. So they're kind of keeping tabs on everybody and trying to minimize the risk. And it creates an easier kind of a situation. If somebody does become infected, it's easier to find out who might be at risk or who was exposed to that person during their travels. I don't know exactly how the app works, but whatever. That's the only requirement. And then when we come back in, we've got to have our temperature measured. But other than that, we're pretty free to travel around. You know, what I'll do first is I'll just flip the camera around. You're supposed to be taking a look outside. Hold on. All right, so yeah, we'll do a little bit of a drive around. I don't know where yet. I'm not going to talk for the entire video, so the last bit I will shut up and then maybe just overlay some music onto it. But some updates. Yesterday's video, when I was speaking about the Uyghurs and talking about that topic a little bit, it was really interesting. A lot of people had left a message in my comments saying that somebody named Kim Iverson did pretty much at the same time or a little bit earlier than me a live stream about the Uyghur issue in China. And that was really cool. It was a pretty cool coincidence. I now subscribe to her on YouTube, and I now subscribe to her Twitter, and I listened to her entire video. It was really good. It was awesome. And she touched on a few things that I would have gone into a little bit more depth on, and then other things she just went beyond anything that I knew about. So for example, she talked about how a lot of the local population in Xinjiang, the time period when they switched from being Buddhist to Islam. And I always knew there was a big Buddhist kind of presence in Xinjiang because there have been artifacts that have been uncovered there from which date back from very, very long ago, which are, Buddhist artifacts and that sort of stuff. So it was really interesting to hear the context to that, and she knew all of that. She went through a lot of research for that video. I'll put it in the description, and anybody who's curious to hear a little bit more about the situation with the Muslims, definitely recommend that video. And let me go through here, the office area. I actually, before this whole thing had started, I had planned in and around for this time to actually go to Xinjiang and do it wasn't really to do a video, it was just for myself. But now when I go, I will obviously do a video, because I have a friend, he owns a financial company which is headquartered there. And because there's some regions in Xinjiang where they have really, really good tax subsidies and benefits, because they want to encourage commerce in the area and bring opportunities to the area. And so he's one of these guys who took advantage of that, and he goes there quite a lot. And so I wanted to go with him and check it out, and also to go see Kashgar, which is a place I've wanted to see ever since before I even arrived in China. I've driven through Tibet, which was an awesome experience. It like 7,000 kilometer trip, whatever it was. It was more or less from Lhasa all the way out to Kailash Mountain, and then I did a 54 kilometer hike, reaching 5,900 meters. Was it like 20,000 feet? And I hiked that with locals. It's considered a religious pilgrimage for Buddhists, and also a couple of other religions, if I remember correctly. And usually people do it in 2 or 3 days, and I pushed myself to do it in a day. The tour company originally didn't agree. They said, we don't want dead foreigners with our tour company, dead foreigners who die on our watch. But I convinced the local guy to let me do it when we were there, and we did it in 17 and a half hours straight. Probably the most extenuating thing I've ever done in my life. I trained for it for about a year before I did it, so that was an awesome experience. But I was looking at the maps and stuff, and it would have been really cool to continue my road trip through Xinjiang from there, but I didn't get to do it that time. There wasn't enough time. What am I doing? I'm stopping. Oh, I can let her cross the road. That is very unusual for people to stop to let people cross the road if there's no cameras. So this lady probably was looking at me like, are you really letting me go? It's actually getting more and more common. Now people are actually stopping at these crosswalks. But, so that was pretty cool. Regarding what's going on in terms of numbers here, we had no confirmed new cases in Shenzhen yesterday. That's the second day in a row, which is really great. It's really encouraging. Of course, I'm still worried about what will happen when movement starts in a big way, when people start coming back from Chinese New Year. But that's really, really encouraging. I was really happy to hear that. And overall numbers seem to be burning out. Obviously the biggest problem is still Hubei province, but there's a lot to be optimistic about. And I don't think there's anything else I wanted to cover. Just that my son was really happy to hear so many people wanted to see the second part of his book. He's thinking about the story right now. He's already made the cover for his book. I don't know if I'll ask him if I can put a picture of it up early, give you guys an early preview. I'll put it up on the screen, but there's nothing inside it yet. He just created the framework for it. And I might chat with him a little bit more on camera. It was really cool kind of getting him on camera and then having him open up with the camera. Because, when I was talking about these different things about identity and race and all this kind of stuff, that might be an interesting conversation to have with him. And I should have thought about this even aside from putting it on video. But about what does he feel he is? Does he feel he's Chinese? Does he feel he's foreigner? How does he connect with the students at school? Where does he feel he fits in? I mean, this might be pretty deep for an 8-year-old, but he's really into philosophy. He really does think about kind of the meaning of things. So we'll see. Maybe I'll put him on camera and we'll have a chat with him about life. If you like the idea of that, let me know if you had any specific questions you wanted me to ask him on camera. Other than that, I think I'm going to wrap this up here. I'm going to shut up here, and I'm just going to drive around a bit more and speed up the video. I'll try to get through some of the neighborhoods here. The thing is a lot of the neighborhoods, like the village neighborhoods in Shenzhen, they don't have their own, they have entrances to them, but they don't really have security like with the normal buildings. So what they do is with these villages, they've blocked off all of the entrances and they've put a checkpoint where you've got to go through to get in. And I would imagine it's similar to what we've got in our building now, which is you cannot have outsiders who don't live in there. What's this guy doing? Going in. So I would imagine for these villages, unless you live in the villages, they're not going to let you in during this time to prevent kind of the mixing of people while we're trying to keep this under control. Having 0 cases for 14 days would obviously be a really ideal situation. So hopefully we can keep this up and just kind of get rid of it. Then the only variable would be the people coming in thereafter to Shenzhen. But I'll be honest, I am a little bit nervous for when my kids start school and not knowing where all the other kids came back from, and if it's just going to kind of, ravage through the school. And anybody who has kids must know how easy it is for them to pick up any little thing that's going around. It's like schools are the breeding grounds for these kinds of things. But so I'm going to wrap it up here and just say what I usually say, which is to stay safe, take all the precautions you should be taking, and I'll catch you in the next video, and enjoy the rest of the drive, guys. Peace.